Happy Halloween, movie buffs! I'm Jack Benner, and today's special Halloween review is for Last Night in Soho. Last Night in Soho is a 2021 psychological horror film from writer-director Edgar Wright starring Thomasin McKenzie and Anya Taylor-Joy. The film's protagonist is Eloise, played by Thomasin McKenzie, is an aspiring fashion designer who gets accepted into a college to study fashion in London. When she goes to sleep, she's suddenly able to enter London in the 1960s, a decade she's obsessed with. Then she's in the body of a singer named Sandy, played by Anya Taylor-Joy. But the more time she spends there, she starts to realize it's a lot darker than she expected. Edgar Wright is one of my favorite directors working today, and anything he's doing, I'm automatically excited. I love how unique he is, the energy he injects into his filmmaking, his versatility ranging from action, comedy, and horror. I loved him ever since I saw Scott Pilgrim vs. the World back in 2010. One of my favorite comedies of all time, and still to date my favorite of his filmography. That had me hooked ever since with his style and energy. The Cornetto trilogy with Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End, which are all comedic gold and a great blend of comedy with different genres in each film. And Baby Driver being one of the most creative action movies I've seen in years. Hearing about this project made me very excited for a few reasons other than Edgar Wright was behind the camera. One, it was going to be a serious horror film without any comedy, so it's definitely going to be a very different horror film compared to Shaun of the Dead, my favorite of the Cornetto trilogy. You got red on you. Second was both Thomasin McKenzie and Anya Taylor-Joy. These are two great, young, talented, and uprising actresses. And three was the very intriguing concept and trailers. This was one of my most anticipated movies of 2021. I was excited to see. And I did see Last Night in Soho in theaters. Unfortunately, it was a few days after Halloween because I was busy with work. But luckily, I was able to see it in theaters and I loved it. Rewatching it again for this review, I still love it. I think Last Night in Soho is a great horror film. Let's start with the pros. First, the performances are all great. Thomasin McKenzie at the lead gives a fantastic performance as Eloise. I feel like this role really unleashes her talent with this and Jojo Rabbit, which she was also great in. She's charming, she makes Eloise a likable character that you can sympathize with from her isolation and tragic past. And you do feel very concerned from her as both the past and reality start to collide and she starts to go insane and the tension of the film keeps on increasing. In my opinion, I think this is one of the most underrated female performances of last year. And I wish she was in the conversation for Best Actress nomination. I thought she was terrific in this movie. And Anya Taylor-Joy is excellent as Sandy, giving a striking and subversive performance that continues to show her range as an actress, and she's great in this movie. And Matt Smith is great as Jack, cool name by the way. At first he may seem like this charismatic, handsome guy, but as the film goes on, he starts to become more intense and sinister, and he was really good in this movie. And a year later, he was in Morbius. Oh god, that movie. Frickin' Morbius. He was the best thing about that movie, honestly. And Edgar Wright did a terrific job directing here. From the production design and costume design from 1960s London is all top-notch. The different settings, cars, clubs, the music is all captured perfectly. And this is also a gorgeously shot movie with amazing cinematography. And I especially love the way he used neon lighting. And I especially love the way he uses red in this movie that signifies danger. And there are parts of this movie with certain edits and scene transitions that you can tell, okay, this is still Edgar Wright and his style is still intact. And it's also a really cool scene where Sandy is dancing with Jack, along with that scene before that when Eloise starts to see Sandy in the mirror. And I also love the effects of how Eloise and Sandy see each other in the mirror. And when they're dancing with Jax, it's to Sandy, then to Eloise, then to Sandy, then to Eloise. And I also thought that was really cool trickery the way they did that and cut that. And I also feel like Edgar Wright does an excellent job building tension. Right in the second half of this movie when Ellie starts to realize 1960s London is not what it seems to be, and the film gets darker and darker and more intense and stressful, that's where I started to really love this movie. And I also like the way Edgar Wright uses jump scares minimally, but when he does use them, they're pretty effective, especially one that did get me. And the music in this film is also great with a killer soundtrack, many great songs on it, and a really eerie score. And another thing I admired about this movie was that it was unpredictable. There were definitely some certain twists and turns in the story that I didn't see coming. Watching this movie, I was thinking, okay, this film is going to go one way, I feel like it's going to go there. But then in the third act, it goes in a different direction where I was like, oh, okay, I was wrong on that. And I like it when a film makes me do that. I think it's going to go one way, but then goes in a different direction that keeps me engaged. As for issues or nitpicks, I'd say one issue I have with this movie would be the third act. Where with the twist, which I didn't see coming, I thought it was a well done twist. But something about that twist didn't quite have the proper execution that I was hoping for. I was hoping for something a little more with that twist. In conclusion, while I don't think it's Edgar Wright's strongest effort, and I was hoping for something a little more with the twist, Last Night in Soho is an intense, engaging, anxiety-inducing, and stressful psychological horror film from Edgar Wright. Great performances, effective filmmaking, amazing building of tension, and a suspenseful story that had me on the edge of my seat. If you've never seen Last Night in Soho, and if you're a fan of the horror genre and this looks interesting to you, definitely check it out. I am sad that this movie didn't do well at the box office, because these are the type of original horror movies that I really like to see that are so well made and keep me engaged from start to finish. And not only am I happy Edgar Wright made another great movie that I love, but a great debut in the horror genre that's not a comedy. And now to grade it, I'm going to give Last Night in Soho 4.5 stars out of 5, an A. If Edgar Wright is planning on doing another straightforward horror movie down the road, I'm definitely excited to see him continue his skills in that. And if he's still going to do action or comedy, I'm still excited to see what he has in store. And it's one of my favorite films of last year, and my favorite horror film of last year, topping A Quiet Place Part 2. While this is a divisive film, not everyone loved this movie compared to his previous films. I can't agree I don't love this movie as much as his previous films, but in the end, I still love Last Night in Soho, thought it was an amazing and unique horror movie. So I'd like to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on Last Night in Soho? Have you seen it? Do you agree, disagree with my review? Or if you haven't seen it, are you looking forward to watching the film someday or not? Let me know below. Did you enjoy hearing my thoughts on this movie? If yes, please hit that like and subscribe button if you're new here. Don't forget that notification bell for my next upload. It really means a lot. And until the next video, I'm Jack Benner, and look forward to another movie review.